The scene kicks off with Zayatao tugging at her stockings, grumbling that this pencil skirt makes a quick getaway impossible. Blushing, she asks Yizheng if wearing this flashy, dark outfit is really a must. She admits the clothes are great for moving around, but she feels completely exposed and totally awkward. Keeping his cool, he promises it's the best getup to stay under the radar, then asks if the bags are packed for the road. He rattles off the supplies he's prepped, which snaps her back to reality. They're running for their lives, not going on a spa retreat. Still, she proudly shows off the little wedding dolls he gave her, treating them like her most prized possession. Tired of the chit-chat, he tells her to hurry up and get moving if she's done packing. Right then, a flashback hits, back when Yizheng was obsessively hunting for any faction that would take him in. An overly excited recruiter tried to pull him into the Hehuan sect, known for their dual cultivation methods that were definitely hiding some shady intentions. Since the organization didn't care about magical aptitude, he signed up immediately. His time in their training program was short-lived. A turf war broke out and his group was quickly branded as part of the evil faction. With no powerful mentors to have his back, the kid was thrown onto the front lines as nothing more than cannon fodder. Months ago, after getting badly busted up in a fight, he blacked out and was rescued by a kind farm girl named Zayarato. While he was recovering at her place, the reincarnated soul wasn't even thinking about the war, was perfectly happy just chopping wood and living a quiet life. That peace didn't last, though, once he felt a massive spiritual surge heading their way. Apparently, the brawl between the big factions had reached their little corner of the woods, proving there's no escaping the chaos of war. Panicked, Yizheng tells Zayatao to grab everything fast, they're leaving before sunrise. As they sneak through the dense forest, he admits he gave up magic just to grow old in peace right next to her. Totally touched by the reveal, she blushes bright. It's the first time he's ever said something like that to her. Holding his hand tight, she agrees to follow him anywhere, as long as they're together. Being a reincarnated soul with zero luck, the guy grumbles that his personal system has been a total bust due to his low stats. He tried applying to a top-tier swordsmanship school earlier, only to get slammed at the front door by a super strict evaluator. Then he tried joining a tough mercenary group, but got rejected again for being too scrawny. Fed up with all the rejection, he even started questioning the point of living in a magical world when you have zero juice. Back in the present, a voice booms through the woods, ordering the couple to stop right where they are. Blocking their path with pure authority is Bai Ningbing, the dreaded leader of the Jade Maiden sect. One of her lackeys spots the guy's gear and asks her boss if she wants to just clean up the intruder right now. With an icy glare, the leader tells her minions to hold their horses before finishing him off. Without missing a beat, one of the guards dashes forward and lands a heavy blow right on the lead character's face. The force of the hit sends him flying into the dirt, getting a mouthful of gravel for his trouble. Looking down at him, the sect leader offers to spare his life if he spills the secrets of his organization. Beat up and on the ground, Yizheng mocks their desperation, pointing out that a bottom feeder like him would never know the big tactics. Fuming at his attitude, the silver-haired woman loses her patience and tells them to just deal with it. Wanting to brown nose, a blonde disciple asks for permission to take him out, and the leader gives the nod. Terrified to see the sword raised, Zayatao jumps in front, begging for mercy and swearing on her sweetheart's good heart. The swordswoman sneers, calling that show of affection pathetic coming from the enemy side. Without a second thought, the cruel guard lunges forward and runs her blade through the farm girl. The lead character's world goes black, his eyes widen as he watches the horrific scene. He screams her name at the top of his lungs, but her frail body just hits the frozen grass, lifeless. Crawling over, dazed, he tries to understand why anyone would be so brutal to someone who wasn't even part of the fight. Consumed by pure rage, he glares at the killers, demanding to know why they dragged an innocent into this. Totally indifferent, the attacker explains that anyone allied with the other side is just collateral damage. With nothing left to do, he hawks a glob of spit right in the arrogant jerk's face. Boiling over, Yizheng curses their twisted logic, screaming that he'd rather be gone than help out such heartless monsters. For his trouble, he gets a deep cut across his face without a shred of pity. The constant pummeling wrecks his chest, splattering blood in a display of mindless violence. Fading out right next to his love, he curses those righteous faction members with his final breath. Cleaning her blade with flair, the leader says that extreme measures are just the price of rooting out evil. Buying into their own hype, the students nod and accept that weak excuse for cold-blooded murder. Happy with the massacre, they fly off, leaving the bodies in the weeds. On the brink of the end, the lead character's mind vows a ruthless revenge against Bai Ningbing if he ever gets another shot at life. Suddenly, a holographic screen glitches and flickers, beeping that it's detected intense obsession and is starting a data restoration. The scene snaps back to a sunny day at a fortress, belonging to a sect that loves the finer, fleshy things in life. Gasping for air, the guy wakes up in a fancy bed, totally lost as to how he's still breathing. Jumping up, he checks himself over, unable to figure out where he is or how he survived such a lethal beating. His internal monologue is cut off by a smooth female voice, cheering that the young master has finally woken up. A gorgeous woman, wearing clothes that don't leave much to the imagination, walks over, radiating seductive confidence. She introduces herself as Feng Qingyan, telling him he almost had to be healed by her intense, sensual methods. Holding his hands with zero personal space, the veteran asks him to take it easy and happily announces they won the war. Hyped by the news, she lets it slip that the ruthless Bai Ningbing tried a sneak attack but got shut down by their master. The veteran goes on, bragging that the enemy faction was wiped out and all their treasures were taken as loot. Yi Zheng, however, tunes her out, checking his body and panicking because he's magically alive and healthy. Gritting his teeth, his thirst for revenge lights up his soul when he remembers that silver-haired killer's face. Locked into getting his payback, he declares that since she's wounded, he's going to personally send her to the underworld. Dressing in a rush, the reincarnated soul stomps toward the door, not looking back. But his shoulders get grabbed by a pair of arms when the veteran hugs him from behind, telling him to forget about leaving. Using a bit of magic to pull him back, she whispers that her special treatment won't cause him any pain. Giving off a dangerous vibe, the woman promises that if he has to go today, he's going out from sheer exhaustion in the most pleasant way possible. Cold sweat hits him. The guy realizes this is a death trap, knowing his low level would get absolutely crushed by this man-eater. Right at his peak of panic, a blue notification lights up the room, announcing that the personality correction system has been activated. Shocked by the save, Yi Zheng furrows his brow, trying to process this sudden pop-up. Reading the text, he tries to figure out how a system meant for correcting conduct even works. The long message explains that his mission is to tame and re-educate the wicked, with big rewards for every bit of progress. Without seeing the hovering screen, the veteran pushes the rookie back onto the sheets, laughing at his useless struggle. As the woman gets ready to do her thing, the system scans her stats, tagging her as the perfect candidate for re-education. Confused by his sudden mood swing, Feng Qingyan asks what's up with the change in behavior. Annoyed that the system was so slow, Yi Zheng curses the interface for showing up so late and demands immediate action. In that instant, energy chains rip out of thin air and lock the veteran down. Getting dragged into a virtual dimension, the girl has no clue what kind of technique he's pulling. Panicking, she begs for the guy to stop this right now. Watching the portal, the lead character sighs, thinking if this help had shown up sooner, his love would still be around. The pain of the loss hits his chest, leaving him with a dark, heavy look. With that determination, he walks toward the glowing system rift. Stepping into a dark corridor filled with bars, the guy wonders if this place is some kind of energy prison. The interface warns him immediately. The cells are locked and need specific requirements to open. Already shackled by the weird chains, the veteran asks what artifact he used to trap her. Ignoring the prisoner, the reincarnated soul focuses on the panel and asks how he's supposed to get his rewards. The instructions say that just ending the target yields fewer points, while correction methods pay out way better prizes. Shaking with fear, the girl begs for an explanation, while the screen asks him to pick a route. The panel details that direct refining will give a power boost, leaving the guy thinking about what to do. Annoyed by the silence, the prisoner yells not to ignore her, while the screen informs him about the total conversion option. Picking his options, the guy reflects on the high-value prizes he could snag. But he realizes pretty fast he doesn't have time to play trainer with the veteran. Deciding to power up, the lead character summons a bunch of energy blades to slice the target and secure the reward. Facing the incoming attack, she lets out a scream of terror at the sight of the end. Crying her eyes out, the woman begs for her life, promising total loyalty if she's spared. The blades stop a fraction of an inch from her, leaving the poor girl in shock. At that moment, the system emits an emergency signal, warning about people approaching in the real world. Without warning, the guy's consciousness gets kicked back to reality for security reasons. Left alone in the virtual dungeon, the prisoner stays chained up, staring down the swords. Relieved to have escaped the worst of it, she sighs, noticing the system's progress bar shows the process is halfway done. In the real world, the room door gets kicked in by a frantic cultivator, demanding backup on the front lines. The intruder freezes, confused to find only the rookie standing there, asking where the veteran went. Taking a deep breath, the reincarnated soul cooks up a quick story. With total confidence, he says she found a private spot to start some intense, isolated training. No time to second guess, the cultivator drags the rookie away by force, warning him he's just there to fill a spot in the squad. Flying through the air with the others, the lead character tries to keep up with the magical pace of the group. The buddy clarifies that the squad's goal is to surround and capture Bai Ningbing. After all, the swordswoman caused a massive amount of damage the night before, taking out a bunch of faction members. Hearing that name, the guy's blood boils with rage, shocked at the chance to avenge his love so soon. Arriving at a grim-looking canyon, an army of cultivators is already waiting for orders. A leader tells everyone to organize and wait for the commander's instructions. Whispering to each other, some disciples feel like they're just being led to the slaughterhouse. But a more optimistic guy chimes in that if they capture the enemy leader alive, they get to enjoy her beauty as a prize. Right then, a system alert pops up in the lead character's mind, congratulating him on successfully re-educating the veteran. A surge of energy zaps through his body, raising his cultivation level thanks to the prize. The guy next to him compliments the sudden improvement, but he plays it off as pure adrenaline from the fight. Intrigued by the bonus, he thinks about how the prisoner gave in so easily, even without direct contact in the dungeon. The chatter gets cut off by a voice calling for total silence on the mountain. A creepy group of big shots shows up at the top, and everyone bows in respect as the sect master arrives. Showing off an intimidating purple aura, Yahello makes his presence known with all his power. Crushed by the heavy energy of the elder, the reincarnated soul hides in the crowd of disciples. With a calm gesture, the leader asks them to skip the tiring formalities. The subordinates thank the sovereign for his presence with deep respect. Soon, the veterans hand out mysterious pills, promising a major strength boost for the troops. Analyzing the small red sphere in his hand, the lead character stays skeptical. His buddy eggs him on to swallow it and fight, but the guy knows that in this faction, nothing is free. From the high cliff, the master orders the attack to begin. Using a basic trick, the rookie fakes eating the pill, but hides it in his mouth. The Supreme Master claims the prey is seriously wounded and won't last much longer. He guarantees that with a coordinated strike from the whole troop, victory is a lock. Obsessed with grade, the army pushes forward, thirsty for the hunt. Under the influence of the pill's ingredients, the extras rush in a frenzy, fighting to be the first to hit the target. Following the group of lunatics, the guy confirms his suspicion that the medicine was actually a trap. In the middle of the mist, someone screams they've found the target, confirming she's hurt on the edge of the canyon. Sitting and panting, Bai Ningbing looks like she's reached her physical limit. Seeing the enemy vulnerable, the guy speeds up, swearing he's going to lock her in his virtual prison. On the other side, the swordswoman feels deep contempt for the horde closing in. When the goons jump to attack, she draws her weapon and releases a massive shockwave of energy. Calling the band arrogant, the woman proves she still has plenty of power left. The manic look on one of the disciples vanishes when he sees the green light heading his way. The impact wipes out the front line instantly, cutting the extras down with ease. Hiding behind a rock, the lead character watches in shock at the insane power of the blow. Cold sweat hits him. He realizes attacking now would be suicide, since the woman is still a lethal threat. Out on the battlefield, the mangled bodies start to swell and pulse in a disturbing way. The swordswoman steps back, surprised, not getting the phenomenon with the remains. A devastating explosion hits the area, swallowing the woman in a violent shockwave. Unable to stay on her feet, she falls to her knees, exhausted. The leader finds out the hard way that the corpses were turned into bombs, releasing a pink mist. Coughing in the middle of the strange gas, the swordswoman finally realizes she's been lured into a dangerous chemical trap. One of the goons asks if they can collect the net. Calmly, the Supreme Master asks for patience, saying the explosion was just the beginning. Showing his cruelty, the old man explains that the real trap is the blood fog, infused with a stimulant poison. In the middle of the pink smoke, Bai Ningbing starts breathing hard, feeling the effects of that shady chemistry. The swordswoman doesn't get why her body is suddenly heating up. Hiding nearby, Yi Zheng spits out blood, suffering from the previous explosion. The guy figures the suspicious pill was meant to create that love gas, thinking the veterans of his sect are totally depraved individuals. Noticing a presence nearby, the enemy leader demands to know who's watching in the mist. Without delay, she fires an energy blast at the observer, ordering them to stop hiding. Getting thrown back, the lead character is recognized by the killer, who is surprised to see the guy from yesterday is still alive. Glaring at the enemy, the reincarnated soul notes that his sect uses dirty methods, which is perfect for leading her to his disciplinary system. Right then, the interface warns that her hostility is at 50%. Noticing the threat, he decides he needs to tick the leader off as much as possible. Provoking her, Yi Zheng asks if the powerful master can only take out her frustration on someone like him now. He keeps pushing, mentioning her army was turned to dust, suggesting she surrender since she's so afraid of the end. Fuming at the insolence, the woman orders him to shut up and fires a brutal green energy blast. Fueled by hate, she insults the guy, claiming his pathetic state is the result of a previous betrayal. The swordswoman swears to wipe out the whole sect and the traitors, promising to start the purge by crushing that insolent bug. Shooting a giant beam of light, she tries to send him to the underworld. The system warns that the rage level increased, but it's still not enough. Seeing the size of the attack, the guy's eyes widen, knowing the situation just got critical. With the impact, the energy cracks the mountain, sending debris flying everywhere. But after the blow, the woman's hand relaxes around the hilt of her weapon. Completely out of juice, Bai Ningbing falls to her knees, leaning only on the sword stuck in the ground. Watching from a distance, Yi Zheng clicks his tongue, frustrated that the hostility level still isn't high enough to capture her. Silence takes over the canyon, interrupted only by the sound of stone shards falling next to the abandoned blade. Walking out of the dust cloud unharmed, the lead character strolls toward the defeated enemy. Totally bewildered, the leader asks where her strength went, while the guy slowly gets closer. The poison hits its peak, forcing the woman to complain about unbearable heat, afraid she won't hold out. Surrendered to the effects of the pink mist, she starts breathing hard, losing control of her faculties. From outside the cave, the elder notes the target can't resist the poison and has started her own relief. The Supreme Master tells the goons to wait and let her suffer, planning to step in later to apply his special treatment. While the villains wait, muffled screams echo from the depths, showing the situation inside is critical. Thrown to the stone floor, the enemy leader fights uselessly against the intense effects of the gas. Near there, Yi Zheng takes advantage of the dense energy of the environment to meditate and focus on his own magical evolution. Opening his eyes, he celebrates reaching a big jump in his physical cultivation in just 1 hour. Watching the panting woman, the guy realizes her special magical constitution releases extraordinary benefits to those nearby. Having done nothing but absorb the local passive energy, the reincarnated soul fakes ignorance about the awkward scene. Pretending to be the victim, he argues that a rookie like him just passively accepted the pressure from a high-level warrior. Holding the woman dramatically, the bold guy claims she's the one who forced him into that experience. Hearing such an excuse, Bai Ningbing freezes, feeling hate bubble in her soul. Without thinking, the swordswoman's shaky hand grabs hard onto the hilt of her weapon, abandoned on the floor. Radiating a green murderous aura, she asks if the wretch really assumed he'd walk away alive after taking advantage of the situation. Charging with fury, the woman demands his life. Thanks to that, the system finally notifies 100% malice. The interface details the leader's impressive attributes, confirming she's a perfect target for correction. However, to the guy's despair, the system errors out from lack of space in the prison, leaving him vulnerable to the lethal attack. Cold sweat hitting as the blade gets near his neck, the lead character orders the app to kick out the current prisoner to clear the spot immediately. Obeying the command, the portal spits out Feng Qingyan, launching her right into the middle of the fight. Before the blade hits anyone, virtual chains rip out of the void and lock Bai Ningbing's body down completely. Reaching out with urgency, Yi Zheng orders the system to capture the killer once and for all. Unable to react, the leader of the righteous faction is pulled into a blue glow, vanishing from reality. Now inside the re-education space, the reincarnated soul breathes a sigh of relief for having dodged death by an inch. Confident, the guy cheers, knowing his revenge will finally begin. The creepy environment reveals a wall full of punishment tools, giving a dark vibe to the cell. Locked to a log, the woman struggles, trying to understand that bizarre place and why her magic is dead. Walking calmly, the guy orders the prisoner to stop resisting, warning her that he has total authority over her life here. Angry at the humiliation, she demands his real identity and how he got such a powerful technique. To intimidate her, Yi Zheng lands a heavy blow against the wooden frame, terrifying the woman. Holding the killer's chin firmly, he warns that she lost the right to ask anything in these circumstances. Checking the floating panel, the lead character salivates, noticing that training the leader guarantees total submission and a special fire-based skill. Glaring into the defeated enemy's eyes, he thinks the rewards for that capture are priceless. To guarantee the maximum bonus, the guy's hand summons a leather whip made for the job. With a dark look, the reincarnated soul decrees hell, need a lot of dedication to discipline that new, rebellious student. Seeing the torture tool, the brave leader loses control and begs desperately for him not to use it. Exactly at the moment of fun, a red alert flashes, informing him of arriving invaders. Annoyed, the guy curses the interruption. In the real world, violent energy shreds the cave entrance without any ceremony. Pieces of stone are projected, opening a path by brute force. Through the dust cloud, the imposing silhouettes of the Supreme Master and his army invade the refuge. With a dismissive tone, the elder asks if the enemy ferry waited long for his personal rescue. Back to reality, Yi Zheng breaks into a cold sweat seeing the command arrive, feeling like his grave has been dug. Analyzing the scene, the guy realizes the only exit is totally blocked by the veterans. With no options, the lead character gathers all the red energy he just gained to fight for his life. But the sudden effort makes him spit out blood, proving his organism still can't handle his own power. On the other side, the leader orders the rest of the mist to disperse, releasing a purple shockwave all over the place. Seeing the environment, the group of invaders stares at the strange scene on the cave floor. Shaking, a lackey reports to the elder that only a couple was left alive in the place, leaving the master impatient for answers. The subordinate informs, stuttering, that the woman on the floor isn't the target. Disoriented, the rejected veteran wakes up not understanding what happened. Fuming at the loss of the hunt, the Supreme Master loses his patience and starts throwing swords at the girl, who flees screaming for her life. Fallen, the veteran sees a heavy boot next to her, while the elder insists it's impossible for the enemy leader to have escaped his net. Dragging the girl violently by the collar, the old man demands to know where the target hid. Desperate, she swears she doesn't have any information. Trying to ease the mood, an elder proposes a new search. At that, a buddy suggests the enemy might have been disintegrated in the explosion. The subordinate comments on the effort of the leadership to capture the beauty number one, hearing that, the poor woman on the floor doesn't understand how the conversation is unfolding. Suddenly, the Supreme Master bursts into a manic laugh in the middle of the cave. Looking at the veteran, he asks how long the supposed fairy will keep up the disguise, guaranteeing she doesn't fool his experienced eyes. Without warning, the elder rips part of the girl's clothes, making the situation very uncomfortable for her. Turning to the elder, the master asks if the subordinate still hasn't noticed the brilliance of the situation. Pointing his finger at the girl, the commander decrees with conviction that that woman is the enemy leader in disguise. The veteran tries to explain she's just an ordinary disciple, while the group speculates if the master went crazy. Watching, Yi Zheng finds it comic the old man is making up his own narrative. The leader warns that denying it is useless and points to the reincarnated soul, remembering there's still a living witness. With hate, the girl glares at the rookie, realizing that humiliation is his fault. Overcome by rage, she advances against the guy to settle the score. But before hitting him, a purple lightning bolt strikes the veteran in full. The elder accuses the fake enemy of trying to silence the witness. Holding the lead character's face without delicacy, the master orders the survivor to wake up to reality. Immobilized by the chin, the guy chooses silence to not make his situation worse. Coughing to act, Yizheng thanks the elder for the fake concern. Next, the master orders the boy to report what happened in the cave. The rookie lies that upon entering, he witnessed the veterans exploding, leaving the enemy leader seriously injured. Taking a dramatic pause, the cynic preps the ground for his biggest lie. Without hesitating, he claims the killer changed her appearance to look like the veterans. The master laughs satisfied, while the girl is chained. The elder orders the removal of the fake prisoner, promising to put her through heavy training after the conflict. Being dragged, the girl mentally swears to haunt the rookie, but the guy just enjoys it, considering that a career boost for her. Kissing up, the elder compliments the master's cunning and suggests returning to the military base. Suddenly, the supreme leader hesitates. He questions how the whole troop was reduced to fireworks by the pill, while the boy remains unharmed. An inquisitive and scary look focuses on the lead character's face. Cold sweat hitting, the reincarnated soul notes his situation got complicated and needs a genius excuse urgently. Simulating pain, he claims he took the pill, felt intense burning, and right after was hit by the enemy, which would have forced the medicine to increase his strength. Analyzing the scene, an elder confirms the guy indeed showed a sudden power increase and suggests a natural drug resistance. Taking advantage, the subordinate remembers the alchemy sector needs a test subject. The master smiles with perverse intentions. Landing a heavy blow on the guy's shoulder, the sovereign determines the survivor's fate right there. With a solemn tone, the master declares the rookie is, from that moment, his personal disciple. The youth is shocked by the promotion. Without wasting time, Yizheng kneels in gratitude, promising absolute loyalty. The elder laughs and orders him to stand for the return to base. With his head down, the lead character knows those men don't act without reason, but his absolute priority is staying alive. Flying on their swords, the group cuts through the skies, leaving the cave in ruins behind. Upon arriving at the military base, they land straight in the main alchemy courtyard. The reincarnated soul watches the giant cauldron in the center, feeling an extremely hostile vibe. With a fake expression, the elder informs the master has already reserved a special task for the new disciple. The rookie senses the hidden malice. Keeping the act, the guy asks for orders with extreme courtesy, while planning to run at the first opportunity. The alchemist puts his hand on the garment, warning he won't hesitate to explore the youth's talents. Extending the palm full of strange spheres, the superior orders him to eat it all soon. Shock is clear on the lead character's face. Trying to escape, the guy argues his level is insufficient to ingest such precious medicine. The alchemist mocks, asking if the test subject is afraid. Looking at the pill pile, Yizheng understands, finally, that the disciple title was just a front for lab tests. Stuttering, he tries to make another excuse. Without patience, the alchemist hits the table, questioning the truth of the immunity story. With a threatening look, the old man remembers the consequences of fooling the leadership. The reincarnated soul realizes he can't make more suspicions. Accepting his luck, the guy takes one of the spheres, deciding to risk it. Excited, the alchemist orders the test subject to eat slowly so he can record the side effects. The guy is speechless in the face of danger. With the old man staring, the reincarnated soul desperately hunts for a way to fake ingesting the poison. Exactly at this instant, a rumble shakes the building, terrifying the leadership. A lackey runs in to inform that the enemy faction attacks the base with full force. The elder curses the impertinence of the moment. Taking advantage of the distraction, the guy suggests the master lead the defense while he continues with the tests. The elder agrees, ordering the disciple to meditate, and summons the troop to the front. Alone, the lead character lets out a sigh of relief, realizing the external war turned into his ideal escape route. Looking at the full shelves, he decides to loot the stock of precious medicine before going. To speed up the theft, the guy activates the system to release the enemy leader from virtual space. In a flash, Bai Ningbing hits the room floor, exhausted from the punishment suffered. The swordswoman breathes, relieved to have escaped that dungeon. Pulling the chains on her neck, Yizheng warns she'll never break free from his command. The woman swallows hard under pressure. The reincarnated soul orders her to separate the useful medicine and throw out the useless. The leader is confused by the strange request. Indignant, she protests because she doesn't know how to organize supplies, since her subordinates did such tasks. Pulling the leash, the guy orders her to stop being so high and mighty and work. The powerful one feels the humiliation of becoming a rookie's servant. Spying on the place, the swordswoman notices a strange detail on the boss's hand. She realizes the guy is holding a specific pill with clear nervousness. With a sly smile, the leader deduces it's a powerful medicine capable of recovering her magic. While the lead character examines a bottle, the prisoner gets close cautiously behind his back. In a fast pounce, the woman snatches the sphere from the rookie's hand, leaving him stunned. Without thinking about the consequences, the swordswoman swallows the medicine right away. Turning in shock, Yizheng asks if the crazy woman really had the guts to eat that. Looking at his despair, she smiles, convinced she gained a big advantage by stealing the treasure. But the joy ends when pink and strong energy explodes from her body, speeding up her heart out of control. Cold sweat hitting, the warrior realizes her terrible mistake in stealing someone else's supply. Agonizing with the rising heat, she notes her magical strength is still blocked, but something worse has awakened. Totally red, the woman pants, recognizing the symptoms of that very strong love chemistry. Watching the victim's state, the guy thanks his lucky stars for not having eaten the old pervert's test. Shaking from head to toe, the leader can't stand the pressure and grabs the sleeve of the lead character's clothes. Defeated by the stimulant, the beauty begs, suggestively, for the guy to end that unbearable heat soon. With irony, Yizheng remembers the powerful leader trying to run minutes before and asks if she really has the guts to ask for help. Surrendered to the situation, Bai Ningbing admits, in a low voice, she made a grave mistake. Taking advantage of the upper hand, the lead character warns that if she admits the mistake, she must prove it with a more submissive attitude. Shame takes over the woman, who hesitates a lot in the face of that demand. Overcome by the chemistry's heat, she begs for a real punishment, while the system notifies the correction progress and releases a reward. Laughing at others' misfortune, the reincarnated soul mocks that the famous leader of the righteous faction now looks like a dog wagging its tail at his feet. As a final warning, he orders her not to disappoint him again, and the swordswoman swears desperate shall never dare to disobey him. At that instant, the environment in the lab gets so intense that the bottles start to vibrate and break on their own. After the effort, the guy sighs, grumbling that the love pill's poison is very complex to stop. Coming out of the trance, the woman insults the rookie, frustrated for having surrendered to the enemy, while the system celebrates the success of the first phase. But the argument is interrupted when the lead character hears a strange noise coming from outside. The youth notes right away that the situation at the military base has changed drastically. Seeing the chaos through the window, Yizheng comments, excited, that he didn't expect such a good harvest in the middle of so much confusion. The interface confirms his suspicions, firing an intense combat signal nearby. With that, the reincarnated soul remembers a detail, noting that the fortress is still under heavy attack from the righteous cultivators. Without delay, the guy decides that outside mess is his golden chance to get out of that terrifying place. Throwing clothes at the prisoner, he orders her to stop acting soft and get ready to run together. But before they can leave, heavy footsteps crush the rubble, signaling the arrival of someone dangerous. Suddenly, the floor gives way, and the pair falls screaming into a dark hole. During the fall, the lead character manages to soften the hit, holding the woman tight. Grumbling with pain, Yizheng looks around and is surprised to find a secret basement under the lab. Using his fire magic to clear the place, the guy is shocked by the bizarre scene in the shadows. The place is full of righteous faction female cultivators hanging, looking like a slaughterhouse of prisoners. Ignoring the danger, Bai Ningbing runs, desperate to check on her followers. Taking in a blue-haired girl, the leader cries out of guilt, asking how her favorite student got to that state. Watching the drama, the reincarnated soul remembers those girls are from the rival faction and mocks the speed with which karma collected the bill. The lament draws the attention of the injured girl, who wakes up recognizing the familiar voice in the dark. Upon opening her eyes, the student calls for the master with emotion, while the swordswoman confirms, relieved, it's her disciple, Xiao Lanjai. Trapped in a humiliating way, the poor thing can barely move to hug the savior. With a broken heart, the sect leader reaches out in a painful appeal for the battle companion. Coughing blood, Xiao Lanjai smiles, saying she always knew she wouldn't be left there. The second disciple guarantees, with a choked voice, that her master would never let her rot in enemy hands. Indignant at the cruel torture, the white-haired woman understands her student survived by a miracle in that nest of villains. Doing a quick check, the guy analyzes the prisoner and finds her spiritual root was destroyed by the kidnappers. He warns coldly that the girl is one step away from the end. The reincarnated soul completes the diagnosis, revealing she's about to be turned into a human battery of magic by the veterans. Desperate, the leader begs the rookie to save her, promising anything, even knowing a powerful villain claimed the girl. The swordswoman confesses, hurt, that such tragedy occurred because her oldest student made a dirty pact with the villains and betrayed her. In the memories of the fight, Xiao Lanjai jumped heroically in front of a lethal attack to ensure the master's retreat. Thanks to that sacrifice, the powerful one managed to escape and hide in that isolated cave. Back to the present, the woman offers her own life as a bargaining chip, accepting to become the guy's property if that saves her student. Revolted, the injured disciple scolds the master for humbling herself before a villain, remembering such a species never keeps promises. Upon hearing the insults, the lead character gets irritated with the prisoner's cheeky attitude. However, his face lights up when the system indicates the blue-haired girl as a new target for correction. Holding the swordswoman's chin with malice, the guy agrees to help, but clarifies he only practices charity for members of his family. Whispering in the ear of his new trophy, he demands she shout to everyone who she belongs to now. That absurd request leaves the injured disciple incredulous at the villain's level of brazenness. With no options, the brave leader swallows her pride and yells she is, officially, the reincarnated soul's woman. That declaration makes the student spit blood with hate, increasing the malice in the guy's system a lot. Pulling the woman's hair to force the situation, Yi Zheng orders her to admit the truth, and the poor thing assumes, crying, she is just his slave. The humiliation of her idol makes Xiao Lanjai flip out in the chains, daring the rookie to act like a man and torture her instead of the master. Enjoying the useless loyalty, Yi Zheng returns the threats, remembering they tried to kill him in the past and the game flipped. Glaring at the prisoner close up, he swears hypocrites like them denied his re-education treatment. To provoke even more, the guy points to the defeated leader, mocking the fact she begs for that sordid destiny. Frustrated by the slowness, the lead character watches the system bar frozen, unable to understand why the girl's hate hasn't hit the limit yet. But the spectacle of villainy stops when the dungeon ceiling explodes, reminding the guy the war didn't give a break. Among the debris, a team of righteous faction cultivators invade the basement, awakening hope in the disciple. A precise sword blow cuts the magical chains, freeing Xiao Lanjai, who falls heavily to the floor. Acting soon, the reincarnated soul creates a fire barrier to protect his hostage from the debris, ordering her to stay glued to him. The invaders see the horrific scene of the trapped girls and are horrified at the cruel destiny reserved by the enemy sect. Assuming a heroic posture, Lin Si condemns the massacre and decrees the death penalty for the villains. Radiating a powerful green aura, the swordswoman presents herself as the main student of the righteous sect and swears revenge. Facing a giant energy blade aimed at him, the lead character notes the fight will be tough and fighting alone is a fatal error. However, the attack stops when the supposed hero identifies the guy's trophy and recognizes the famous white-haired beauty. A dirty smile appears on the vigilante's face upon deducing the powerful woman lost her magic and is under the control of a weak rookie. Revealing his corrupt nature, he suggests to the allies they could explore the warrior's defenseless body. The injured student is shocked by the proposal, while Yi Zheng sighs, impressed by the girl's naivety about her own faction. The other goons join the idea and look at Xiao Lanjai with second intentions. Mocking the theater, the reincarnated soul observes that justice is mere front and decides to use those fake heroes to increase the student's hate. Cynical, the lead character offers a deal, promising to hand over the two if they let him leave alive. The leader of the scoundrels accepts fast, thinking the rookie is smart for giving in, and orders him to watch the door. Dividing the prize as merchandise, the fake vigilantes get close, making the disciple scream in disgust at so much cowardice. Consumed by absolute hate against her own faction, the girl swears to haunt all of them and starts to burn her life force in a suicide attack. The explosion of hate takes the system to the limit, and the guy celebrates the efficiency of his psychological trap. Wrapped in a storm of blue flames, Xiao Lanjai loses control, turning into the newest trophy unlocked for capture. With the girl dominated, the lead character gets the reward, a red sword called Flowing Blood Light. Admiring the blade, the guy smiles and decides to test the new treasure against the fake heroes. Without giving time for reaction, he invests like lightning, catching the enemy by surprise. With agility, the reincarnated soul lands a fatal blow on one of the goons, spreading blood. The weapon sucks the vital essence, and the system warns that it evolves absorbing blood, leaving the guy hyped. Seeing the scene, the disciples panic before the powerful weapon, but the leader Lin Si orders a battle formation. Obeying, the warriors raise swords and activate a luminous barrier. Running around them, Yi Zheng lands fast attacks, impressed by his agility gain. He supposes the bonus comes from the new sword, but notes a flaw. Suddenly, a shock hits his body, interrupting the rhythm. Panting, he notes that the energy absorbed from the blade has already been all spent. Seeing the rookie's fragility, the swordswoman orders the team to change the formation to pressure him. Joining forces, the warriors create a giant green energy sword over the lead character. With a rumble, the attack crushes the floor, coming down against the youths. The leader of the cowards smiles, doubting the guy's survival for long. Feeling the crushing weight, the reincarnated soul spits blood, fighting to keep consciousness under pressure. The giant blade forces the rookie against the floor, threatening to split him at any moment. Mocking the misfortune, Lin Si orders the partners to finish the job, saving the valuable sword. Cornered, the lead character is forced to kneel, unable to repel the formation's energy. Holding the weapon, he admits the group's technique is incredibly strong for beginner cultivators. However, at the peak of despair, a delicate and injured hand places itself over his, holding the sword together. Surprised by Xiao Lange's help, the guy has a genius idea: use his blood as fuel. Without hesitating, Yi Zheng cuts his hand on the red blade, activating the treasure's maximum power and shocking the enemies. Absorbing the essence, the weapon shines with a demonic aura, ready for retaliation. Giving an ascending cut with hate, the rookie launches a scarlet wave against the vigilante leader. Surprised by the glare, the fake hero freezes, facing certain end. Cold sweat hitting, the coward realizes the treasure is too strong, and his chances of victory are zero. Trying to save himself, the swordswoman retreats to flee, but the lead character blocks the exit. With a dark look and bloodied face, the reincarnated soul warns it's too late for escapes. In a brutal move, Yi Zheng lands a devastating blow, crossing the fake hero's body with his red aura. Being devoured by the blade, the leader falls screaming, incredulous at his defeat to a nobody. The guy breathes relieved, standing over the villain, proud of the victory in the tough fight. Upon turning, he notes the blue-haired disciple standing, looking at him with intensity. With an ironic smile, Yi Zheng complains about the girl's ingratitude in wishing the end of the one who just saved her life. The youth returns with a cold look, ignoring the gratitude and focusing on her wrath. Pointing a stolen sword in the mist, she gets ready to fight, while the guy asks if such a lesson came from her master. Cold, Xiao Lange admits gratitude for the rescue, but warns nothing changed between them. Advancing, the warrior screams that good and evil don't live together, while the rookie sighs, predicting the betrayal. The lead character blocks the blow without effort, cursing the Justice faction as a den of ungrateful snakes. Tired, he activates the capture command on the blue interface. Magical chains rip from the floor and lock the girl in the air, forcing her to drop the weapon, shocked at the strange spell. Facing the punishment options, the reincarnated soul thinks of the prizes for each route. The first alternative offers a pill capable of raising his strength level immediately. The training route promises total dominion over the student and a body focused on wood magic, leaving the guy intrigued. The description reveals that such constitution gives dominion over plants and medicine, making the user a true master. Analyzing, the reincarnated soul concludes, amazed, that the choice will turn him into an expert alchemist fast. Decided, he holds the prisoner's neck, while the girl struggles uselessly in the chains. With a malicious tone, the villain warns he would be an idiot if he killed her now, forcing the poor thing to ask his plans. Pulling the chains, the guy drags the girl close, ready to start the intensive physical therapy. Looking at the woman, he flirts ironically, saying a healing session will solve all her injuries on the spot. Desperate, with no means of fleeing the chains, the girl cries and begs him to stop the madness. The effort to break the girl's pride registers a big advance in the rebellious student's correction. The reward is delivered, and the guy's body shines bright with green energy, activating the new wood constitution. Exhibiting renewed vigor, the lead character celebrates the disappearance of his injuries like magic. With satisfaction, he feels the magic running through his veins faster, proving the bonus was good. Dressed and renewed, the reincarnated soul laughs, feeling he got a big advantage from the loot. Satisfied, he presses the holographic button to return the new prisoner to the virtual dimension. Seeing the icons of the master and the student, Yizheng smiles, anxious to tame that pair. The party stops when tremors warn that the war at the military base continues strong. Seeing the debris, the guy notes that staying there is madness and decides to leave before the ceiling falls. Running through the destroyed corridors, the lead character invades the alchemy room, finding potions scattered. He freezes, confused, attentive to a specific smell in the place. Crouching, the reincarnated soul picks up a bottle for a better analysis. Immediately, the system interface identifies correctly every pill and powder stored. Laughing alone, the guy finds out he can identify the exact recipe just by the smell, amazed at the ability of his new body. Without hesitating, Yizheng starts to scoop up all the healing and stimulating potions. Hyped with the theft, he mocks that the alchemy master was hiding a big treasure, which is now his. But during the cleanup, he bumps into someone by mistake, feeling a dangerously soft impact and retreating. Off balance, he asks who's in the dark, but a female voice bats back, asking who should be asking. From the shadows comes Huang Tianmei, a beautiful veteran, asking what the thief wants with the stock. Putting his hand on his face, the guy notes a strong nosebleed and tries to blame the shock. But soon he widens his eyes, understanding his blood boils only by the proximity of that woman. Cold sweat hitting, the reincarnated soul concludes he found the famous elder of the total charm, magical physical. He remembers the gossip about the veteran, notorious for having a poisonous charm no man resists without going crazy. Fuming at the invasion, the woman demands to know who ordered the theft, while the guy tries to cook up a way to run. Trying to explain, Yizheng swears to Huang Tianmei he is the elder's new helper and only protected the medicine. Pointing to the breach, he lies, claiming an attack of 3 invaders he needed to face to defend the stock. Suspicious, the veteran makes a sound of doubt while analyzing the boy close up. Finding the story poorly told, she mocks the chance of a rookie beating 3 warriors and attributes the success to luck. At that instant, feeling a strange heat, the guy notes the woman started using her charm and tries to resist. Wrapped in a purple smoke, the lead character strains not to give in to that temptation. Impressed by the rookie's control, Huang Tianmei compliments his calm, while he responds with fake modesty. To test the boy, she fires an energy beam against the alchemy cauldron, demanding proof of talent. The attack hits the huge pot, preparing the equipment for a new recipe. Keeping the challenge, the woman claims creating mid-level pills should be easy for the helper. Looking at the cauldron, Yizheng sees the veteran cornered him by asking for an advanced recipe. However, thanks to his new body blessed by plant energy, the guy sees a real chance of success. Watching the boy, Huang Tianmei notes, surprised, that the energy around him changed in seconds. Curious with the result, she asks herself if the rookie will really succeed, while green flames surround the guy. Concentrating his power, Yizheng invokes the sacred alchemy fire and orders the flame increase. Using his energy, Yizheng heats the cauldron with green flames to start the refining. While the fire gets stronger, the guy chooses the herbs under the veteran's look. Digging through the rubble, he notes, disappointed, that common ingredients turn to ash. But with a confident tone, the guy knows that improvising a formula with what he is won't be a problem. He selects 3 exotic plants, mixing special leaves with fire sunflowers for a new effect. Preparing the components, the lead character puts the plants in the cauldron in the right order. As soon as closed, the bronze cauldron shines strong with the mystical energy of the herbs. Concentrated, the guy knows he needs to control the green flame temperature with a lot of care. Looking, Huang Tianmei finds the plant choice strange and asks if the boy is faking. Fixing eyes on the fire glow, the young master celebrates in silence the success of the recipe. A green explosion exits the cauldron, spreading light all over the room. Impelled by the heat, several energy spheres rise toward the ceiling. Floating in harmony, 8 pills made prove the success of that improvised recipe. Holding the high-level pills, Yizheng celebrates the feat upon seeing the golden glow of the new medicine. Standing still in surprise, Huang Tianmei swallows hard and faces the pills floating in front of her face. Examining, the guy notes the medicine has supreme quality, exhibiting marks of rare mystical energy. Incredulous with the ability, the veteran asks how Elder Wu trained such a good student hidden. Handing over the pills, the lead character suggests going to the front to help the injured warriors. However, with an ironic laugh, the woman warns that won't roll, leaving the youth confused with the direct answer. With no conversation, the girl grabs him by the arm, using purple energy bands to immobilize the rookie. At that moment, a giant explosion throws both out, and the veteran warns they are already in the middle of the real fight. Coughing in the middle of the gray smoke, the guy tries to clear his vision while he gets up from the floor with difficulty. But despair takes over upon seeing the old Elder Wu fallen and defeated, without signs of life. A mysterious warrior appears imposing respect, stepping on the debris, looking at the pair with superiority. Presenting himself as the third Elder Bailey II, the invader mocks his weakness and warns that the veteran is the only one left. Upon feeling the enemy's pressure very strong, Yi Zheng retreats, cursing his luck for finding such a monster. Mocking the righteous faction warrior, Huang Tianmei comments that, with such bloodthirst, he doesn't look like a hero. With a grumpy tone, the brute responds that, against members of the rival sect, one must use total brute force. Arriving close, the girl argues that the brawl happens only because of the sects, and doesn't require fight to the end. While activating her dangerous charm, the veteran throws a seductive look, and asks meekly if the old warrior doesn't agree with her. Falling for the pickup line, the brute starts talking nonsense with eyes shining in pink tones. Watching, the lead character is surprised to see her seduction power can dominate even such a strong warrior. With the spell on, the girl uses her perfumed energy to dominate the righteous faction invader's mind. At that, showing docility, the veteran celebrates that now they can have a friendly chat and solve the fight without violence. But a metallic rumble cuts the romantic vibe when a sharp blade is drawn in the stone hull. Holding the girl's weapon with empty hands, the warrior asks laughing why she thought they would send a weakling to hunt her. Ripping his own clothes with rage, the big guy yells that any carnal temptation only hinders his sword. Showing the armored chest, the brute reveals he removed desire from his heart so as not to be seduced by the rival's tricks. Seeing the theater, Yi Zheng makes a face, shocked at the extreme madness these heroes submit themselves to. Retreating, Huang Tianmei warns that breaking the spell doesn't mean his victory in the mortal fight. Firing a pink energy blast, she tries to hit the big guy, but the attack returns to her skin. Activating his forbidden technique of the iron body, the invader channels golden power to shield his muscles against any blow. The veteran's attack hits his skin with a metallic shield sound, proving the man's body turned into a wall. Advancing with rage, the brute warns his brute force is greater and her tricks lost effect. Landing a strong blow, the warrior throws the beautiful girl far with a brutal impact that destroys the floor around. Falling to the floor, the veteran spits blood and loses her weapons after suffering an overwhelming counterattack. Upon seeing the critical situation, Yi Zheng pulls his red mystical sword and decides to retreat soon. Driving his greatsword into the earth with force, the brute invokes a secret technique to block all the canyon exits. Giant chains with prison seals rip from the rocks, creating a magical barrier that's impossible to cross around. Laughing at the certain victory, the big guy celebrates that the glory of purifying the enemy base will be credited to his name. Totally trapped by the red chains, the beautiful warrior blades and notes her magical power was blocked. Being chained, the guy gets irritated, grumbling that those crazy people fight and involved him in such a situation for free. To break free from the prison, the lead character concentrates his energy on the red blade and gets ready to cut. He attacks the moorings with several fast blows, but the blade only hits with a metallic sound without leaving marks. Mocking the attempt, the big guy mocks that a weak rookie would never break a high-level barrier. At that, upon raising his giant sword with pride, the executioner promises that, after slicing the veteran, he'll use the boy's blood to consecrate his weapon. Cornered and without strength to leave the prison, the reincarnated soul asks desperate if he will die again so soon. Suddenly, his look falls on the golden advancement pills he just made and keeps in his free hand. Thinking it's his last card, he decides to risk everything and force a mystical level advancement in the middle of battle. Without hesitating, the guy eats the pills all at once, under the veteran's disbelieving look. Seeing the situation, Huang Tianmei notes all the local spiritual energy is being absorbed by the boy, about to level up. With a mock, the brute Bailey too asks if the boy really thinks reaching the foundation level is enough to beat him. Without wasting time, the brute jumps with his sword to stop the process, guaranteeing he won't let the youth evolve. However, a block stops the villain's blow, making the weapon's hit with strong metallic impact in the air. Knowing her charm failed, the veteran focuses on buying time, rooting for the lead character's advancement. Feeling the mystical barrier break, Yizheng sees the path to the next level is clear in his mind. But notes brute force is little, needing a right combat technique to use all that power. In his mental prison, the guy wakes the two prisoners and demands teaching of a high-level sword technique. With pride, the student refuses the request, guaranteeing she would never help an evil sect member. At that, the youth lets out a sound of distrust, planning to use his methods to convince them to help, one way or another. Turning on the correction system, he makes the chains shine, starting a session of bad thermal shock on the leader. Desperate to see the master's suffering, the student screams with rage, while the guy warns hell use force if they stay rebellious. Not standing the pressure, the leader begs him to stop, promising to teach the secret technique, while her progress hits 20%. Absorbing the manual's secrets, the lead character focuses on the ancient words about mental control and perfect union with the blade. With that, the boy's eyes shine with scary golden energy, proving he learned the secret technique with success. An explosion of golden lightning hits the floor, while the guy stands with an intimidating aura before the surprised villain. The system confirms the boy's advancement to the first foundation level, releasing a wave of power in the cave. Shocked by the spiritual pressure force, the veteran asks if an initial evolution should cause such impact. Taking advantage of her distraction, the brute advances and lands a heavy blow, cursing the girl for losing focus in the fight. With the cutting wind impact, the veteran is hit in the clothes seam, suffering a light cut that forces her to retreat fast. However, the villain's smile ends when a pink energy beam crosses his chest, catching him by surprise. On the floor, the veteran uses her last strength to guide the magical attack, focusing on stopping the brute. Feeling the energy bore into his iron body, the big guy cracks the armor and lets out a grunt of pain. Taken by rage, the warrior screams and forces his muscles to expel the pink energy stuck in his chest. The brute swears to kill everyone, while the guy's system gives a new sacrifice ability as a prize. Analyzing the power description that burns one's own blood to give a bonus for a second, the guy concludes it's more than enough. Advancing, the executioner lowers his golden greatsword to crush the boy with his destructive attack. With a smile, the lead character turns on the forbidden sacrifice technique, prepping his body for the counterattack. A storm of red flames explodes around him, stopping the brute's blow with absurd pressure. Concentrating all his new strength, the youth starts the first form of the secret technique he learned from the leader. Feeling the red energy tear the air, the big guy tries to dodge but notes late the blow is too fast. Landing the final cut, the boy uses the sword's cutting wind to slice the impenetrable defense. With the devastating impact, the brute is thrown far, breaking the magical chains he himself created. Panting and without strength to fight, the veteran watches the scene, shocked at the power level released by the rookie. Kneeling and spitting blood, the villain demands to know how a simple boy from the rival sect knows the secret technique of the righteous faction. However, the big guy can't finish, feeling his strength go away while he blacks out. In his final thoughts, the warrior notes such destruction level is absurd for someone who just evolved. Unable to stand the injuries, the brute's body hits the dead mountain. Looking at the enemy fall, the veteran relaxes, relieved to have escaped that monster by luck. With the end of the cause, the magical chains vanish, freeing the girl, who falls to her knees, still not believing in the victory. Looking at the youth standing in the middle of the dust, she asks how a rookie level 1 eliminated such a strong elder. Coughing blood, the guy notes not even his new wood body cures the weariness of the forbidden sacrifice. Without strength to stand, the lead character falls to his knees, with his vital energy zeroed after the attack. Arriving close, the charming veteran uses her healing magic and warns, with a sweet tone, the guy really captured her attention. The scenery changes to the beautiful peaks of the Xuanling sect, where the peace of the temple is about to end for good. Running through the palace corridors, a disciple screams something terrible, looking for the supreme leader. Irritated by the lack of manners, the sect sovereign demands explanations, asking about the whereabouts of Elder Bailey. Cold sweat hitting, the guard tells with fear, that the soul blades of the elder and the leader's great-grandson vanished suddenly. Upon receiving the bad news, the Supreme Master's face shows shock and rage upon noting the loss of his lineage. Channeling mortal hate, the sovereign makes the environment shake with his very destructive red energy. With a scary smile, the leader yells that this is excellent, letting his assassin aura explode through the hall. Holding the messenger by the collar, the boss demands to know who was the author of the massacre, and the subordinate stutters that everything occurred in the enemy temple. With his back turned, the sovereign curses the Hehuan sect for having taken the life of his dear relative and his best warrior. Turning on a communication portal, the leader swears to make the rival faction pay with rivers of blood for that unforgivable offense. Coming out of the shadows, a mysterious hooded counselor advises the master to keep calm so as not to ruin his own training. The master asks if he should just swallow such humiliation, and the subordinate guarantees they won't let the act pass. Showing a strange face, the second elder Yin Buping suggests a fake truce to attack the rivals without them expecting it. Thinking of the dirty strategy, the sect sovereign agrees in secret by discreet mental message. Laughing with disdain, the hooded elder compliments the leader's wisdom, who approves the surprise attack plan soon. But before dismissing the ally, the sovereign warns there is one more ultra-secret task to be resolved soon. With a bloodthirsty look, the supreme leader orders disguised spies to act to hunt and kill the assassin of his great-grandson. Bowing, the evil counselor guarantees the boss orders will be fulfilled with rigor. With that, a secret message is sent to the skies to warn the traitors hidden in the enemy territory. Night falls over the military base of the Hehuan sect, where the calm hides the dangers that will come. Supporting the tired boy, the charming veteran orders her students to reinforce the defenses, since the attacks stopped out of nowhere. One of the disciples offers to carry the injured youth, but the veteran refuses, preferring to care for him personally. Whispering in the corridors, the girls find the boss' interest in the rookie strange and comment on the danger of that exclusive treatment. Taking the lead character to her private quarters, the veteran closes the door to start the care, far from curious looks. With a strange smile, the veteran sighs, excited upon noting the interesting secrets that young rookie hides. While the gossipers envy the guy, the prisoner thinks everything is a big idiocy. Lying on the spacious bed, the guy has his clothes opened by the veteran, who decides to investigate the recovery of her new helper's body. Leaning in with a seductive look, the veteran warns she will investigate well all the mysteries the youth keeps. Touching his chest with care, she lists the doubts about his fast evolution, the strange sword technique, and that good smell of plants. Turning on her ocular seduction skill, the veteran tries to enter the boy's mind to tear the answers by force. Feeling his head ache with the mental invasion, the lead character fights against the spell while the system fires red danger alerts. Feeling the pink magic enter his body, Yizheng notes the veteran searches his secrets using the charm art. With a malicious smile, the woman warns the treatment hasn't finished, but the system warns it can't capture her due to lack of hostility. Cold sweat hitting, the guy knows he has many cards up his sleeve and can't let that curious one discover his past. Without delay, his mind dives into the virtual system space to collect a favor from his prisoners. The reincarnated soul demands the leader teach that cultivation technique only for women, making the swordswoman ask the reason for such madness. Cutting the chat, he orders her to teach soon, and she accepts, guaranteeing that if he wants the end, no problem. The forbidden technique focuses on energy only female. In case a man tries to use it, the result should be disastrous. With a confident smile, the lead character plans the dangerous trick of inverting his own body's energy flow. Satisfied, he thanks the leader for giving exactly what he needed to get out of that mess. Alone in the virtual space, the swordswoman doesn't understand anything, wondering if the wretch wants to do himself in. Back to reality, the veteran celebrates there is little left to discover all the rookie's secrets. Exactly at that instant, Yizheng activates the forbidden technique with full force, releasing strong blue aura. Surprised by the climate change, the woman widens her eyes upon feeling a wind in the room. Totally confused, she notes the boy's vital energy circulates backwards. The trick causes a strong rebound effect on the veteran, forcing her to stop the play soon. Coughing, the youth feels the weight of his own trick, since forcing the body this way is never free. Despite the internal damage, he celebrates the plan's success, relieved for having blocked the woman's curiosity. However, upon looking right at the veteran, the guy notes the spell gave a short circuit in her mind. In an aggressive pounce, the woman advances against him, releasing pink energy. Dominated by her own charm, she squeezes the rookie, asking with a melty voice if he thinks she's pretty. Pressured, the reincarnated soul curses mentally, seeing the magical rebound made the veteran turn into a predator. While trying to calm the boss' spirits, mysterious figures land without noise on the temple roof. The masked invaders use a magical tracker and confirm the target who brought down the Justice Master is down there. With sword in hand with rage, the group leader promises to go down and finish the enemy soon. But the lackey holds the boss's arm, asking for calm. The subordinate warns there is an absurdly high-level aura, and the woman has a deadly mystical physical. Worried about the mission, the individual asks if the leader guarantees finishing the job without waking the monster in the room. Analyzing the scene, the boss agrees the veteran won't stay long with a weak rookie, deciding to just wait. Standing on the roof, the spies contact the rest of the team. The plan is to attack together as soon as the woman leaves, certain that 4 elite warriors will finish the guy. Dominated by her own magic, the veteran sighs and gives in to the moment. Without giving a chance to flee, she squeezes the young master against the sheets in an imposing way. Cold sweat hitting, Yi Zheng is impressed by the danger that special body of that woman hides. But pulling his own clothes, he decides to use the storm to harvest magical gains. Using the chaotic energy of the room, the guy focuses on cultivation and rises to the 4th level, thinking that a blessing. Feeling the boy's power increase, the girl lets out a whimpering sigh with the sudden energy change. Maintaining the hunt posture, she compliments his skills and asks, provoking, if he really wants to play with danger. Looking at the critical situation, the rookie tries to keep calm not to err. Faking innocence, he apologizes and swears he didn't want to offend, but the woman warns it was already too late to retreat. With a firm look, she demands to know what the smart guy's next step will be. Laughing nervously, the reincarnated soul asks if she wants him to take responsibility, thinking having that protection wouldn't be bad. Holding his face with care, the woman warns the boy doesn't know what kind of mess he got into. She complains about her own luck, asking if he thinks a veteran lives quietly only with the strength she has. The girl reveals the truth, explaining that almost all women with her magical body end up becoming batteries for others. With a sad look, she asks the boy to guess which big boss has watched her for a long time. Connecting the dots, the youth gets it right. The culprit is the sect's supreme master. The guy's look gets serious upon understanding the hornet's nest he got into. The veteran asks if he finally understands the size of the disaster caused by that intimacy. With an ironic smile, the boy notes her worry was losing her magical power and having to explain to the boss. Turning her face, the girl tries to hide her rage with her complicated situation. Returning the posture, she decrees the mistake was made, and now they need to solve that mess. Holding his chin again, she flirts, saying that at least, sharing energy with a handsome boy didn't make her sad. Massaging the temples, the lead character feels that woman was born with the gift of messing up his judgment. With a poor guy's face, he warns he would love to protect her, however his current level doesn't even scare the guards. Pulling the boy for a hug, she ignores the excuse and orders him to continue helping in her cultivation, since time is short. From outside, the team of assassins stands on the roof, in mortal silence. The lackey complains about being there for 6 hours, and the sun already rising on the horizon. Irritated, the boss orders waiting 2 more hours, guaranteeing that if the target doesn't leave, they will enter the room by force. But time flies and the day dawns calm in the temple, illuminating everything. Stretching the tired body, the veteran complains about the rookie, joking he has no idea how to treat a woman. Suddenly, the woman's keen perception catches strange movement outside. Looking at the moon laving, she criticizes the base's failing security, calling the guards useless for letting rats in. But a lively smile appears on her face, thinking that unexpected invasion came in handy. She decides that if the rookie can't clean his own trash, he doesn't deserve to stay with her, while the boy meditates hard. Opening his shining eyes, Yi Zheng wakes from his deep concentration after the dawn training. He celebrates the advancement to the 5th level, feeling 1 step closer to facing the sect's boss. At that, the room's ceiling falls when the assassins lose patience and enter the place, breaking everything. Surrounding the target, the invaders say the boy is alone, and the revenge will be collected now. Looking at their clothes, the lead character recognizes the rival faction lackeys right away. With his red sword, the reincarnated soul smiles, excited for the chance to test his new strength. Looking at the enemies calmly, he notes their high level and thinks the challenge came at the right time. Covered by a strong red aura, the boy advances against the group, guaranteeing the fun will be perfect. The strong clash of weapons raises an energy wave that destroys the wooden floor around. With the impact of the defense, the fake heroes are thrown hard by the rookie's brute force. With a mocking look, the youth criticizes the assassin's slowness, showing the game flipped in his favor. The fight rolls with the lead character giving heavy blows and spreading his red aura while the assassins try to hit back. Holding the magical sword, Yizheng notes the blade sucking all the blood and activating its evolution process. Seeing the weapon's thirst for fight, the guy notes the evolution hit 30% and needs more life to finish. Wanting the boy's treasure, the leader of the invaders warns the sword is high level and orders the lackeys to make an attack formation. Advancing with focus on the target, the masked boss swears he won't let the rookie do what he wants. With a clean and brutal cut, the bloody blade opens the aggressor's chest, who lets out a giant cry of pain. Seeing the leader in disadvantage, the other two lackeys are shocked and call for the fallen partner. Furious with the partner's defeat, the subordinates curse the reincarnated soul and attack while the sword hits half its evolution. Promising to avenge the partner, the pair finishes the hand seal to activate the mortal formation. A dark magical aura with dark claws comes out of the floor, surprising the guy with the size of the trap. Looking at the energy, the lead character recognizes the technique of the Justice faction and mocks the falsity of those fake heroes. At that, his mind visits the system's virtual prison, where Zyro Langi stays chained in a compromising way. Going to the point, he warns Hell release the girl so she can kill some enemies, but the woman doesn't want to help a villain. To break the stubbornness, the guy gives a shock to the girl's master, making the poor thing scream while tied in a strange way. Looking at the student coldly, the reincarnated soul warns she has no moral to negotiate and orders her to fight in the real world. Very red from shame, the prisoner accepts the order but asks for some clothes before leaving that way. In the blink of an eye, the girl appears in the real world wearing a tight outfit, yielding a beautiful advance in the training. As a prize, the guy's body shines bright, gaining an insane improvement in affinity with wood. Confused with the green light, the masked ones increase the formation force, without understanding how the target wasn't eaten by the trap. Without effort, Yizheng hits back the enemy energy just with the pressure of his blade. Taking advantage of the breach, the youth lands a mortal attack against one of the righteous faction lackeys. The impact is so crazy the extra is split in half in a bloodbath. Walking calm, the lead character warns their fun ended, and now is his turn. Cold sweat hitting, the last lackey sees that facing the young master's assassin was a horrible mistake. Desperate, he asks for help and tries to cheer the fallen boss, swearing there's still hope. Rising from the ashes, the injured leader states the mission can't fail, and the death of all won't be in vain. Burning his own essence, the masked one turns on an extreme technique that raises his power to a high level for a time. With strange speed, the villain advances demanding the boy's life, who can barely raise his sword to defend himself. Concentrating energy on his hand, the leader lands a giant punch straight on the rookie's defense. With the rumble, a massive wind explosion sweeps the area, breaking everything around. Confident in the power, the masked one compliments the boy's resistance, talking that fighting on equal terms is already a big feat. Without pause, the warrior returns the posture and leaves for another mortal investment. But the boss stops upon seeing the target vanished and demands the coward stop hiding in the shadows. Coughing blood, the leader understands too late the boy only stalled for the sword to eat. With a dark aura, the lead character celebrates the maximum evolution of the weapon, gaining a strong demonic technique as a gift. The fake hero compliments the kid's grit, but the guy just returns a killer look of someone who already won. Prepping a magical sphere, the Justice Warrior guarantees his armored body won't fall easy. Totally taken by the power, Yizheng makes a scary face, ready to slice the enemy. Shooting the lightning with full force, the boss commands the guy to the air soon. Cutting the wind, the reincarnated soul swings the blade and uses the new power that ignores all enemy defense. A giant red energy skull swallows the scene, descending like a hungry demon on the target. With fear, the big guy pulls a sacred amulet soon to create a golden barrier. However, the vigilante's face twists in pure fear upon seeing his shield won't hold that impact. Surviving by a miracle, the boss spits blood in the smoke and starts laughing at his destiny. With a zombie face, he laughs, thinking the rookie spent his magic, but doesn't see the disciple coming out on his back. In a fast pounce, Zio Lanjai cuts the boss' throat with a clean blow of green energy. Losing his head, the villain widens his eyes and sees the famous warrior of the rival sect in his last breath. With the body falling, the lead character compliments the girl's work and sends his sword to eat lunch. Tentacles exit the blade and start chewing the warrior's remains in a strange way. Taking advantage of the calm, the girl with the beautiful body demands the guy release her master soon. The system confirms an advance in training, and the boy runs his hand on her face, remembering the two are batteries under his care. Bothered by the answer, the girl looks at the rookie with rage and disgust. Suddenly, a luminous stone jumps from the dead enemy's body, but Yi Zheng grabs it fast with a clean cut. The tracker is sliced and erases everything, falling on the courtyard's destroyed floor. With a provoking smile, the warrior warns the little villain's life will turn into hell. She explains the stone sent the fight to the Justice faction, and now he is target number 1. Keeping calm, the guy agrees that's a problem, but remembers the leak is also terrible for the prisoner's honor. The girl goes into shock upon him, saying the prodigy student turned into a nobody's maid for the world. The swordswoman's Mara ends, and she curses the reincarnated soul for using such a low argument. Holding the woman's chin with intimacy, he orders her to lower the tone and remember who commands the relationship. The fight stops when a guard enters the courtyard, crazy, warning about an enemy attack. Right behind, the veteran Zhao Qi and his soldiers appear lost, asking how invaders entered. In the middle of the mess, the eyes of the guy who arrived lock onto someone by the lead character's side. Knowing who the warrior is, the guard chief looks at the youth, and the reincarnated soul looks back with mockery. With rage, the veteran accuses the rookie of theft, remembering the girl was taken by the master to turn into a battery. With arrogance and covered in blood, Yi Zheng suggests the man worry about the war outside instead of filling. Losing the line, Zhao Qi holds the boy by the collar, ordering him to stop changing the subject. Exchanging looks of end, the veteran orders the rookie to deliver the prisoner or see what happens. Instead of retreating, the lead character's hand crushes a core without noise to prep a surprise. The power wave throws the aggressor far, while the reincarnated soul mocks, wanting to see the tough attitude in practice. Noticing the danger, one of the soldiers tries to warn the boss that the climate isn't good for fights. Without listening, the leader orders the team to shut up, while a green light crosses the confusion. The fight stops by a strong female scream, ordering everyone to stop the clown show. Walking with authority, the veteran Huang Tianmei enters the place exhibiting curves in a dangerous outfit. Showing fear, the guard lowers his head and tries to blame the rookie, inventing that he stole prisoners. With that, Yi Zheng accuses the rival of blunder for letting spies enter and trying to dirty his name cowardly. Entering the chat, the powerful Huang Tianmei says valuable treasures belong to those with strength to hold them. At that, she confronts the corrupt guard for letting the enemy invasion happen and trying to prejudice a sect colleague. With fear of the veteran, the man kneels, asking for pardon and admitting his error. With no time for drama, the woman orders him to clean the invaders' bodies soon. While the rival leaves defeated, the lead character sees the enemy's humiliation silent. But the guard leaves fuming with hate, promising in his mind that that humiliation didn't end. Seeing his face, Yi Zheng smiles from the corner, making it clear hell loved to see what hell tried to do. Shortly after, the veteran and the prisoners gather in the hall to talk about the next steps. Seeing the beautiful Zio Lanjai, the girl comments the guy is good at hiding strong treasures. However, warns that to hold a valuable toy, one needs sharp teeth, and the youth agrees. Getting close to his neck, the seductress warns in an intimate tone that she also works that way. She leaves, ordering the boy to rest, for tomorrow an important work waits for him. Alone in the room, the blue-haired prisoner tries to pull shy conversation. With no way, the girl thanks the help, admitting the fear of turning into a toy of that nasty guard. Suddenly, the blue screen of the system warns the girl's submission hit 60%, giving her a regeneration technique. Finding grace, the guy comments the student is much easier than her tough master. Meanwhile, far from there, the the climate gets tense in the rival faction's temple with the news of the defeat. Hitting the table, the faction leader yells upon knowing his 5 elite guards died. Taken by rage, the Supreme Master screams against the incompetence of his soldiers. He continues cursing his guards, calling everyone trash for the failure in a simple mission. The Sovereign wants to know how strong warriors were beaten by beginners. Trying to calm down, the masked counselor asks him not to lose his head. The ally puts the recording of a magical stone with the final moments of the fight in the cave. The image shows the young master using his sword to end the invader leader. Next, the video focuses on the face of the blue-haired disciple, confirming she's a traitor. The counselors discuss that, even with help, an ordinary rookie wouldn't beat so many elite guards. Pointing to the hologram, the masked one warns that Red Sword is a very strong spiritual treasure. Astonished, the Sovereign asks about the real identity of the boy with the demonic weapon. The counselor thinks, with certainty, that the youth can only be the mysterious and strong holy son of the rival sect. With that, the accessor explains everything makes sense, since a secret heir would always walk very well protected. The Sovereign agrees, remembering the rival faction usually hides its successors under 7 keys. At that, the masked counselor kneels, congratulating the master, who gets confused about the reason for the party. He explains knowing who the secret heir is gives the perfect advantage to set a fatal ambush. Thinking, the leader asks if he will need to leave to clean the mess after losing so many soldiers. The ally guarantees he doesn't need to, suggesting using the next martial arts tournament to finish the boy. Happy with the evil plan, the Supreme Master passes the whole operation to his faithful counselor. The Sovereign calls the whole righteous sect to order, stopping all attacks against the enemy. He swears to make the rival heir disappear in a humiliating way during the big sect competition. Meanwhile, far from there, Yizheng sneezes a lot in his room. Scratching his nose, the boy finds a cold strange, considering his cultivation level. Wanting to ignore, he resolves to turn on his new forest regeneration technique to see the effects. Meditating, the young master pulls the green energy of the plants, feeling the nature's power come. The magical energy spreads, covering the wooden furniture with a green mist that shines. With the spell, an old chair starts to sprout leaves and gain life. Scared, the boy notes the technique doesn't only take energy, but drains the plant's strength without mercy. With the look of who studies, he decides to see the limits of that strange power. The green energy takes shape in the air, pulling the vital essence stored by the environment. The reincarnated soul sees, impressed, that he can use the spell to take energy from any living being with forest element. Scared, the prisoner accuses him of using forbidden arts, but he says that's the prize for taming her. At that, the system warns the technique works better if done in a pair, with someone of wood elements. Connecting the parts, the lead character sees he has the perfect training partner in front. Without loss of time, he pulls her close to start the high-level spiritual exercise session. Whispers that she needs to help him practice the method, leaving the girl without reaction by the audacity. The lights go out while the pair does the most intense mystical gymnastics of their lives, under candlelight. Hours later, the girl rests, finished, after so much effort in that strange training. Celebrating, Yizheng feels his power rise again by the success of the method. Covering herself with the sheet, the girl swears he will pay dear for making her go through so much humiliation. Holding her chin, the boy asks her to look at her own body before complaining. To the swordswoman's astonishment, a green aura involves her, showing her destroyed magic started to return. He explains it's not a simple cure, but a magical restart that will speed up the return if they continue training. Raising the girl's face, the boy makes it clear she needs him to return to being strong. Thinking of the master's well-being, the disciple swallows her pride and focuses on getting strong as fast as possible. Surprising the boy, she pushes him on the bed and talks that one training round won't do. Assuming the front of the exercises, the girl orders to continue until recovering all her power. The next day, the sun rises beautiful, bringing new challenges for the sect. Knocking on the door, the veteran Huang Tianmei calls the youth, remembering the day's important commitments. Upon opening the door, she freezes upon seeing the messy scene of sheets in the room. With lipstick mark, the lead character gives a smile, swearing to have spent the night meditating. Nothing convinced, the veteran screams with rage for him to get up and leave soon.